hold on here. Well, it's just getting ornery. Oh, you know what? Didn't have the gas on. You gotta turn the gas on. Let's get some gas in there, baby.
A little bit of gas does a lot of good.
Something good about gas shells.
You can barely hear that in here.
I know. Actually, it should be louder.
There it goes. She's gonna wonder why you're honking at her.
Is this the road you're talking about?
What's that?
Is this the road you were talking about?
No, we're gonna go up a little bit and take a left.
Oh, okay.
How fun is this car to drive?
Great.
Yeah?
This is the street I live on.
Oh, cool.
We're gonna turn here?
Yeah, this works. Yeah. Actually, this is the one I was thinking of.
Hello to all of our friends on YouTube. We're so glad you joined us today because the story we're about to tell you is truly amazing. How many of us have had the foresight to keep our first car? Not many, to be sure. And how many of us have had a car the majority of our lives and are still able to drive and enjoy it even today? Again, not many. But sit back and enjoy the story of Steve Gerst and his wonderful Ford Model A Coupe. It's sure to bring a smile to everybody that admires a car that's been under the same care and ownership since the late 1950s. Now, let's go for a ride.
My name is Stephen Gerst. I'm the owner of a 1930 or 31 Model A Ford Coupe. Not sure whether it's 30 or 31 because I was told that by 1930 they had already decided that the 4-year run was going to end at the end of 31 and they were pulling parts off the shelves to build whatever they needed to build and use up their parts. I've had this car since I was 16 years old. I'm now almost 81. My brother, who's 2 years younger than me, has passed away, but he was 14 at the time. Came home from wherever he was playing and said he bought a car off a gardener who couldn't get it started on the side of the road, and he needed the money to buy it. So I, quote, loaned him $200 and it became our car. And we pushed it home and decided we were going to take it apart and learn how to put a car together, or at least take one apart and see if we could get it running. My earliest memory at that time, being 16 and he 14, is we went down to Foodville Market in Phoenix, and we got some orange crates. We brought them home thinking we could jack up the car and it could sit on top of these orange crates while we started taking it apart from underneath and dropping the engine and stuff like that. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. And my mother came out and the car's swaying back and forth on these crates and almost had a heart attack. It got us out. We didn't have any wheels on the car at that point. And it sat in our garage or carport for years. He couldn't drive. He didn't have a license. I was just learning how to drive. The car just, we finally got to the point where I was at the University of Arizona and he was living at home, and he wanted to get engaged, and he wanted to buy an engagement ring for his girlfriend who later became his wife, and he needed a couple $100 for a ring, so I bought his interest out and gave him a couple $100, and it became mine. And after Toby and I got married, sat in the driveway, still wasn't running, and the landlady had a son named Bill who told us that he could take that thing apart and he could put it back together. Wonder of wonders, he got it put back together and we started it up and it ran. The engine was running and the transmission was working. By this time, we decided, since it's running, it was an old green, not original, but it was a green color that had been painted on it. We took it to Earl Scheib, who used to advertise doing paint jobs for, $99 or something? Any car, any shape. And the red paint on the car is an Earl Scheib paint job, and it kept that paint job for several years. The car's name was Sweetpea, because it was green when we first got it, and that's their first name, so she's still named Sweetpea, although we don't use the name that much. And then, life goes on. It's followed us wherever we've lived. A relative of the fellow who had originally taken it down and put it back together with my help, he knew a guy who used to be an old World War II body fender man, at least during that era. I contracted with him to restore the car, tear it all down, and his son-in-law, a young kid, was just learning upholstery work, and he did the upholstery and they put it together. And it ran for a while, and then we had the engine block restored. And then we've had it all these years and just had a great time with it wherever we lived, and the kids grew up with it. And one time we even owned a goat. I got a baby goat for my daughter's birthday, and it got so big so fast and ate Toby's shoes and everything else was going that we had to get rid of it. So we found a zoo that would take it. Toby sat in the rumble seat with this goat crawling all over her as we took it down to the zoo. And we had a lot of experiences in it. Another time we joined the Model A Club, drove it up to Yarnell and had a lot of fun with the Model A Club. Then it would sit for periods of time. I'm putting it in my son's name, who lives out in Cave Creek. And it's always been going to be his car. So he knows that it's coming. I'm trying to teach my grandson, who's his son, how to drive it. His legs are now long enough to reach the pedals and to work the gears. So he's just got his own car, so he's interested in settling in cars. It's just been part of the family. So and then we met you.
How many looks and thumbs up do you get all the time?
Oh yeah, thank you. I was driving this every day from my house to the trailhead, and it became my daily driver to drive there because it gets, you got to keep it going.
Yeah.
And so almost everybody knew my car, and they knew when I was there. And several times, because you park at a slant, I didn't have enough gas because it's gravity feed. It would drain out, and I needed to be pushed. So that was fun. A lot of the hikers get behind and push it, and then I'd pop. I'd drive, start it.
The old-fashioned way.
But it got too cold, or it gets too So you live on 40th Street, right?
Yep.
Thanks, Steve, for being such an enthusiastic and dedicated owner of what is arguably one of the most collectible cars even today, Ford's Model A, built from 1928 until 1931. Let us know in the comments about your first car and what happened to it, if you know. Maybe you still have it? Can you beat Steve's 65 years of continuous ownership? Or just give the video a thumbs up to let us know you enjoyed it. We love bringing you interesting and intriguing car stories each week. And join us next week as we bring you one of the coolest station wagons we've ever seen. It's a 1972 Dodge Monaco that has been built to perform better than it ever did when new, and it's also built to tour with an overdrive transmission and a 56-gallon fuel capacity. You guys are going to love this one. See you next week.